Hey everyone, I'm going to start doing a little more content as far as information going out and discussions. I'm going to try to do these videos about twice a week. You can find them on YouTube. The idea is to do them early in the week and then later on in the week to just talk about the discussions of ongoing. And now that I'm thinking about it, maybe we do it 3 times a week. Maybe we'll go Monday, Wednesday, Friday on the discussions and topics of what's going on across the area. Obviously, tonight, the biggest deal is that it's going to be warmer. We're going to be talking about temperatures much warmer than it has been over the last couple of days, and that's all thanks to an incoming system that's going to bring us showers for the day tomorrow, really starting tonight as we start things out here. So we are going to see at least a somewhat in the way of shower activity, possibly starting tonight. So building clouds in the early morning hours, we should see some showers ongoing by the time we get to the morning hours and then going throughout the day. Temperatures out there right now, they're quite cold, but you can see tomorrow cold front comes around, showers around about a 50% chance at rain. At the current moment, all of that moisture is off to the west. I don't have the radar overlay on here, but you can see the lightning popping with a higher cloud cover along with that shortwave axis. That's what that trough boundary is, that brown dashed line. That's going to be moving toward us ahead of the cold front. So we'll actually see the shower activity work in before the boundary reaches us. At the moment, it's nice and dry, but we'll start to see those clouds build. The best chance of rain is going to be after midnight tonight. So it'll be the morning hours of your Thursday that we start to see the showers, possibly as early as 2 a.m. More likely, it's going to be about the mid-morning hours. And then going through the early afternoon, we'll see showers around by 7, 8 o'clock in the evening. We should be clearing things out of here. We'll start to see the cloud cover decrease as well. And then the winds will really pick up because we've got a cold day on the way for Friday. This time around, just a glancing blow. We're not talking about a whole lot of precip with this cold front, and we're not talking about a massive cool down lasting for a long period of time. So we're going to see a strong cool down come down as we get into Friday, Saturday, but we'll start to warm up as we get into Sunday. So unlike last time where it was a longer duration cold event, this time we're only going to be talking about it for a couple of days before we end up on the backside of that front. And then we've got some things to discuss as we get into next week. But if you're headed to the beach tomorrow, consider yourself, you'll have to have some shower activity action going on as well, because we will have some rain around. The pollen count, air quality on the good side, that should stay low now that we've killed most of the allergens out there. That freeze last night really certainly helping to do that. Really just our extreme coastline still left with a freeze to go, but everyone else pretty much killed everything last night and over the last couple of days. So as I was saying, getting into next week, we got some things to talk about, and that's going to be the cold front number 1 coming through on Thursday, and then a big cool down for your Friday and Saturday. You can see that high pressure system really coming in where we want it to for a longer duration cold period, but we're in a much more progressive pattern. So that's going to slide off to the east, and by the time we get to Sunday, we're talking about warm temperatures. Sunday should be a really nice day. We'll climb all the way up to about 70 degrees for the daytime highs, and then Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday all could be wet. All of those days could be wet. What's shown here is the GFS. The Euro actually has a low developing further off to the south. So there's 2 solutions here. You heard me talking about it earlier this week and even going into last week. We phase all these pieces of energy together, then we could have a stronger frontal boundary and even the possibility of some strong to severe storms. More likely that's going to be Wednesday or Thursday now as opposed to Monday. But we could see some storms work through on Monday. If the Euro turns out to be right and we just are on the periphery of this high and the lows start to develop off to our south, we're really just talking about a lot of rain. Maybe talking about 3 or 4 or 5 inches of rain if that were to play out. But I wouldn't say anything set in stone as far as the forecast goes next week. We got a lot of pieces of energy that all have to work together, and how they phase will really determine on where that low pressure system develops, whether it's off to our north and we're concerned about severe weather, or whether it's off to our south and we're just concerned about the rain. Either or, we are going to be concerned about something next week, whether it's storms or rain. And then on the backside of that, we are going to have some colder air. This time around, it's going to be continental dry air. It's not going to be Arctic based. So it is going to be much colder, but it won't be the same type of cold that we just had. It's certainly not going to be lasting as long either, because it's just not going to have the staying power, as it's not going to have the depth. However, we are going to stay in this pattern that does favor the potential for troughs to come in and set up across the East Coast, which is a colder pattern. So it is possible that we hold on to that pattern. While it may be more mild than the Arctic air we just saw, it will still be relatively cold for us, especially compared to the time of year that we're in. So we may still see a colder pattern through, say, the second half of the month after we get through the middle of the month, where we are going to see some warmer days there. And then we could possibly talk about a colder pattern coming back as we get toward the end of the month. So say around Christmas or maybe just before Christmas, we could be talking about some significantly colder air coming down, much like what we saw over the last couple of years where we actually saw our coldest portion of the winter happen around Christmas. I'm not sure that that's going to happen this time around, and really don't know what Christmas looks like just yet. It's just too far out. Typically, about 7 to 10 days is really all we're looking at as far as forecasts and really predictable pattern. Once you get beyond that, then we're just talking pattern. So cold, warm, wet, that kind of thing. And then once you get to like 15, 16 days, then we're just looking at potential setups. What systems are around, what pieces of energy are there, how could things set up based on what is there, because you're going to see big changes in the forecast at the surface as far as systems go. Based on what happens in the upper level, which is really uncertain as you get about 10, 14, 15, 16 days beyond. So by that point in time, we really are just concentrated on pattern. So right now, that's it. That's all we're looking at for Christmas is just pattern. I think we could favor a colder pattern coming back, but it's really unknown as far as how the pattern is going to set up as we get beyond about the middle of next week. That's because we have all those pieces of energy that are trying to work together. So how they come together really could set up or determine the pattern as we go forward, just about how it influences things downstream. So that is left to be watched. Make sure you check in tonight at 5, 6, and 10, because we are going to be covering all of this and go more in depth as well. And then, yeah, check out my social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, YouTube. I'm trying to get a little more into that and post more information out there, where this video is going to be exclusively on YouTube, and then we will share it to the other platforms from there. So we're hoping to do this, or at least I'm hoping to do this. I'm sorry for the mic pop, but hoping to do this a couple of times a week. So hopefully get a little more consistent, and I'll add a little more me into YouTube, if you will. So YouTube's going to be concentrated on a little more of my personality as opposed to just the weather, which is what really I concentrate on Facebook and the other social media. So yeah, I think that's going to do it for our first wrap up. We're going to have to come up with a name. We got a name for our YouTube weather wrap ups. So leave a comment and we'll come up with them together.